welcome, guys, and
for our audio listeners, he has a puppet, by the way. Since this is a podcast.
If you are listening to this, you're not getting the full experience, okay? Sorry.
You mean watching this?
You need to watch this.
Yeah, you said it. So if you're not listening to this, you're not getting the full obviously, if they're not listening to this, they're not getting the full experience.
Anyway, why is Bowtie Jones on screen right now?
Have we introduced Bowtie Jones to this podcast before?
This is Bowtie Jones. He's a puppet.
Yeah. So he's Brett's puppet. His name is Bowtie Jones. He's been in the lore of Brett forever.
The Brett lore.
The Brett lore.
Yes. Probably for a solid 5 years now.
Yeah.
Welcome to another episode of Disattractions.
And you're probably wondering, why was that whole opening like that? Well, let me tell you, we're doing Muppets today.
Yeah.
So
I know what a lot of you are thinking. Aren't there Muppets attractions at Disney?
Not anymore.
No, not anymore.
There's going to be another one.
No, they will be developing another one. Yes, we will be developing another one, but we will live in a world for maybe a year or so where there was no Muppets attractions in any theme park, and that sucks.
To explain, if somehow our viewers are not aware, Muppet Vision is currently going to close down over in Hollywood Studios to make way for Monsters Inc. attraction. Whether you like those ideas for Monsters Inc. in that area of the park, or whether you don't, that's just what's going to be happening.
Yeah, it'll be closed by the time this podcast comes out.
Yeah, so it's closing really soon. And so
Saturday, I will be going. I will be there.
And so, and also, Rock and Roller Coaster is getting a change to the Electric Mayhem Band, which is from Muppets. And so we thought, in honor of Muppet Vision and Jim Henson's last hurrah, we thought that we might make a whole video on thinking, what if the original idea for a full Muppet Land really did come to fruition? Because originally when Muppets was pitched to MGM Studios, for a whole new land, it was a lot more grander, a lot bigger in scope. And so we were hoping to kind of talk about that and say, what if a whole entire Muppet Land actually did bigger than what it is currently, actually did release. And so that's the whole theme of this episode for everyone listening.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of these things where
yeah.
I had a thing I was going to say.
That is not the first time you've done that. You say, and there's the thing, and then you don't say the thing.
Well, and here's the thing. All right, Muppets have been kind of an integral thing in the history and the inception of Hollywood Studios. Mm-hmm. And Hollywood Studios is not what it used to be. So we thought today would be a good idea for us to literally pitch an idea for Disney for them to keep relevant within what they want to do next, and also appease people who have loved their parks.
Exactly. It's a way, because Disney right now, I'm not here to say, I mean, I will state my opinions about everything that they're doing, but their park philosophy right now is really weird. I'm going to say it's weird. The decisions that they're making are really strange. We've covered this in the last episode, and so we're thinking about creating something to like what Brett just said, to almost honor Hollywood Studios' legacy, because now it's turning into something that I don't even know it doesn't know what it wants to be anymore. So creating something that kind of, because like what Brett said, Muppets were almost like core with MGM Studios and with Hollywood Studios ever since its inception. And so kind of building upon that.
You guys remember the movie Earth to Echo? You probably don't, right?
That sounds familiar.
This is going to be a lot more relevant than Earth to Echo. That's what I'm telling Disney.
Gotcha.
I'm going to a meeting and I'm saying, look, this is going to be so much more relevant than Earth to Echo.
Are they making something currently that's Earth to Echo?
No.
Oh.
That's That's what I'm saying.
Gotcha.
Keep your product relevant and don't turn it into Earth Deck.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they're trying to do. They're keeping their product like relevant to a what's the word, to like a downfall, in my opinion.
Look, all I'm saying is the 2011 Muppet movie came out during the Obama administration, and Muppet Vision is closing during the Trump administration. I'm not going to say anything about the state of our world, but I'll just keep it there.
Gotcha. Relevant.
Anyway.
Relevancy
is key.
So our idea for a Muppets themed ride or themed attract or a whole area, honestly, would be kind of to expand upon the existing land a little bit. So the idea of having Grand Avenue, I think in talking further about that, I don't even know what it. Do you know exactly what that's supposed to be designed around?
So so Grand Avenue was originally a lot larger of a space, and it was kind of not only just Muppet Vision, but you would go in the back and there would be like the Extreme Stunt Show, and there would be the backlot tour, and that was all kind of shaped to look like classic Hollywood. So these have like a Singing in the Rain section, these backdrops of like old Hollywood, and it was amazing. It was really cool. They took all of that out because Toy Story and Star Wars needed something.
Right.
So, boom, all of that was gone. So it used to be kind of this bigger section of the park. Now Grand Avenue is its little spot. That's kind of what the original idea of that was. Mm-hmm. So now that's going to go away too. So Grand Avenue is just, it's dead.
It's gone.
After this, it's gone. So,
right. Unless they somehow add that back into over near Rock and Roller Coaster, which I doubt they're going to do.
Yeah, because I don't think they should do anything to Sunset Boulevard, because that's the coolest park now.
It is the coolest. It's the only thing that's relevant to Hollywood.
Yeah, literally.
Other than Grand Avenue, obviously, of the whole existence that there is left.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's almost as like a shell of its former self in that part of the park. And I guess that kind of like also lends clearance to what we're going to talk about today, and maybe Muppets honoring that legacy of Hollywood Studios. And actually the name of Hollywood Studios and MGM Studios actually meant something about the park back in the day. So hopefully we'll be able to bring that back here. And this our idea is that Muppets are going to reuse old attractions from MGM or Hollywood Studios.
They make their own section.
Yep. We're going to be reusing old attractions from MGM and Hollywood Studios to Muppetify them. Mm-hmm. And to create new attractions based off those
You can totally build this. In my opinion, you can totally build this where the Rock and Roller Coaster, Hollywood Tower of Terror, like that section, and a lot of people are going, wait, there's not that much space there. How are you going to build an entire area, right? You can. There's a lot of backstage over there. As someone who's worked in this park for a year and a half, there is so much dead space back there that you could build on.
Yeah. I actually never been to the backstage over. Actually, I have once or twice. I haven't been walking around though. But I think like having this whole entire kind of like nostalgic MGM Studios-esque thing. I know in reality that'll never happen because Disney doesn't want to stay in the past when it comes to their parks. They want to always think of future. But it'd be a good way for Disney to cater to nostalgic fans while also kind of putting a Muppet spin on everything.
Yeah.
And so think of like how the land, like MGM Studio, it might be just called, we probably couldn't get MGM Studios, but you could like name it something Muppety, kind of what I was saying. It says MGM has two M's in it. It's Metro Goldmire.
Yeah.
But just switch it with like maybe Muppet Goldenmire or like Muppet Golden something. Something that's like, it still says kind of like it's a I guess a tribute to MGM Studios through Muppets. But
Muppets Go Monogamy.
Muppets Go Monogamy. That's exactly what it is. That's what we're going to be using here.
Okay.
So this is going to have two main attractions. It's going to have two dining spots. It's going to have a couple shopping, mainly just one shopping area. It's going to have two shows. And we're going to talk about actually a Disattractions first, an overlay.
Yeah.
So
put in like a little sound effect there. Disattractions first.
Guess let's go right into the rides here. If you want to go start on your first ride you've pitched, because I'm sure you've probably thought a lot about that in your lifetime. So you can go ahead and get that pitched.
So, this is actually not my original idea. This is Jim Henson's original idea, so all props to him, and it should have happened. They pitched a ride called The Great Muppet Movie Ride, which was the Great Movie Ride parody with the Muppets in it. If this had happened, if this had become a thing, this would have been my entire personality for the rest of my life. Like, legitimately, I would have lived there, I would have gotten a bed, I would have slept on the attraction. They would have been like, who is that guy?
Yeah. Oh, he's just part of the. That's Brett. He's part of the attraction.
Yes. I love this idea so much, and I've wanted them to bring it back so much. And now that both the Muppet Vision and Great Movie Ride, which, by the way, were my two favorite attractions in Disney, are going away.
It's a personal attack against you, Brett.
It really is. And here's the thing. Universal has not gotten rid of my favorite attraction, E.T.
There you
the Adventure.
I don't think it's going to go anywhere.
Hopefully they never do.
Yeah.
And then they're also bringing in How to Train Your Dragon. I don't know, Disney. My alliances are shifting. They're shifting. You keep hurting me, and Universal keeps doing me good.
Mine too. So, I mean, again, Nintendo's my biggest thing. So, like,
yeah,
they've incorporated it.
Yes.
So Universal is really catering to me now. Speaking
Universal
of which,
comes out and says they're doing a Twin Peaks attraction. It's over.
It's over. Disney, I'm leaving.
God. That would be crazy. Anyways, we're going back to what I was saying before.
Yeah,
sorry.
About Muppet.
So,
Movie Adventure.
The Great Muppet Movie Ride would start. This is my interpretation of the ride. And Kermit would be kind of like your host or your celebrity host for the day, and there'd be a little animatronic Kermit on your car, and he would serve as, like, if you remember the Great Movie Ride, you would have a host that would take you through all the scenes of the movie and, like, commentate on that. My dream job.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure that was.
So badly. Anyways.
Maybe you should have worked on Mickey and Minnie's just for like a minute. Yeah. Just to say you worked on the building.
Yeah, honestly. I do love Mickey and Minnie's, actually, though. Like, it's a great ride.
Right, but it's kind of sad I had to replace your all-time favorite.
Launch Bay over there, that's
totally a dead space. Yeah.
Just literally, you could have built the ride there, and it would have been fine.
I will say, though, that it is nice to have Star Wars Launch Bay, because I do think there is a need for dead spaces in parks. And not,
I guess so.
When it comes, especially with Hollywood studios, how crowded it is all the absolute time. So Launch Bay is something that I would go to if I were to very stressed out and be like, I just want to step away for a minute. I will say that that is helpful, and you need spaces like that. But also, knowing Disney nowadays, they would totally use that space for a e-ticket.
But, like, at the same time, there are cool dead spaces in MGM. Walt Disney's one-man dream is a calm-down area, and that place is amazing.
That's true.
A historic, like, landmark. Same with, I mean, Vacation Funds is kind of silly, and they could replace it with a different, like, show, but that's still a calm-down area.
Even with the waiting room there, there's near the Potato Land potato.
Yeah. When I used to work over there, like, people would, like, be like, can we just sit in this room for a few minutes? I'm like, yeah, sure. It's air conditioned,
Yeah.
But anyway, Great Muppet Movie Ride. Kermit's your host, and he's like, "We're going to take you through the magic of the movies." Yada yada yada. But he like does his little speech, and he's like, "Welcome, it's Kermit. We're going to take you through the history of movies," and then you can go through the opening scene. Can still like be, I think, the Mary Poppins singing in the rain. Section in the original ride could be repurposed, and so you have Mary Poppins in the rooftop scene, but then you see like Fozzie Bear like stumbling down the roof, and you're like hanging on to it, and then you see Singing in the Rain, and Gonzo and Camilla join Gene Kelly, and they're all singing and stuff. So you're just like implementing these different Muppets to the attraction. But we do know that if Disney was to make this attraction, they would want to kind of appeal to their own IP. Thankfully, there is a section that is in the original ride that was based on Indiana Jones. Right. You could keep that. They would absolutely keep that. That is one of their franchises now. And that would be a way. So, Kevin, do you know anything? Like, I know you never rode the original ride, but
Right.
you know kind of see to what happens.
Pretty much.
So, yeah, because there's like a mob section.
Yep, or there was a Western section you could go to. There was
Or a
either one,
Western.
right? And then they would have
Yeah.
actors come out and do a show, kind of a
Well,
mini
no,
show
they'd
in
have
the
some,
ride.
like, they'd have an actor come out
Mhm.
and like pressure your tour guide to leave, and
Right.
then they would take over. So then your ride would be taken over by like a mobster for a few minutes.
Right.
In the Indiana Jones section, they would get like melted, literally, and then the other guy would come out and be like, "All right, cool, we're back." Anyway,
That's really cool. I like that idea. That's really cool.
I think that's fun too, and I think might be interesting. Like you go through a Star Wars section and you like go through the Sith area, and there's like
This is also saying that like Disney will use their own IP, because there wasn't a Star Wars section in the original ride, right?
no, there wasn't.
Yeah. So this is like Disney would probably be making Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Avatar. That's probably what we probably think they would do, because they love appealing to their own IP. Clearing that out. So like people like there wasn't a Star Wars section on the original ride. We're not stupid.
So yeah, I think in that section of the Star Wars ride, you could get like Uncle Deadly dressed up as a Sith Lord, or even Bobo the Bear dressed up as a Sith Lord.
Yeah.
Be like, I'm taking over, and like shoving Kermit out of the way and then taking the ride over or something.
Right.
Technically, they do own Aliens, so you could have an Alien section, but I also don't think Disney would be cool enough to have a section that's scary in a ride anymore.
No, I don't think so.
Have you seen footage of that Alien section of that
It
ride?
looks pretty scary. Yeah.
It's actually
But also,
scary,
that's really
but-
cool. What? So
It's
was
so-
that was Michael Eisner's Disney? He was obsessed with Alien.
Yeah.
Like the movie.
He was just straight up like, let's just add this terrifying
To multiple
creature to our
parks.
park.
Like it was really an alien encounter. He wanted that, and then like he was obsessed with Alien. I want to say Michael Eisner did some weird things, but at the same time, he created some of the most iconic attractions at Disney.
He was interesting.
Yeah, he pushed something new, but in a good way. I don't know how to put it. Like he made Tower of Terror, which is still scary and stuff like that. But
listening to a Disattractions podcast one time where essentially Kevin Perger was talking about how
a Disattractions podcast.
Not Disattractions, did I say that?
Oh.
I meant
You got this.
Defunct Land.
Defunct Land. I was like, wow, we're listening to our own podcast. Let's go. And I was like,
I was listening to the Defunct Land podcast one time where he was talking about Michael Eisner, and he was talking about how the crux of so many of his episodes revolve around that one guy.
Yeah.
Even stuff outside of Disney.
Right.
He was connected so much in different aspects of the entertainment community around this time.
Mm-hmm.
Because he even did like an episode about the Muppets and how the Muppets came to fame. I don't know if you know this fun fact. Michael Eisner got Muppets on the air originally.
Oh, right.
Like back in the 70s. So he just connected to the whole brand of Muppets, right? But regardless, Iger is probably a smarter businessman than Michael Eisner, but he's not as interesting a character to follow because Iger's making all of the decisions that someone would make that would make sense in terms of money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
from like a business perspective. If you want to make maximum profit or make sense, that's like why not do this? It's easier. We'll make more money from it. People love it.
We own Star Wars. It's been the biggest franchise and the most bankable franchise since 1977.
Yeah.
We make a theme park attraction area based off of it. Makes sense.
Yeah.
We own Marvel, which is pretty much this decade's Star Wars.
Yeah.
And it's the most relevant thing going on in the entertainment industry that everyone talks about. Okay, cool. We'll make a Marvel section.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. He's doing all the things that make sense. Building a drop tower ride based off of the Twilight Zone makes zero sense. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It seems like a joke that Kevin and I would make in this podcast. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or even making how do I put it? Because Michael Eisner, going into it, you think of he used a lot of IPs for a lot of his stuff. But they were well placed. and on brand with what the park was trying to do.
And they were so outside baseball.
Yeah.
Who would make a ride based off of Aerosmith?
Literally, and it's like, but it works, and it's themed well. That's the thing, as I keep telling people, is that like Disney can work with IPs. They've done it before. Ratatouille and Frozen, we've talked about that before. They work well. Sure, Frozen sucks, but like it works well with what it's doing.
Yeah.
But like, Michael Eisner took, and if you looked at Tower of Terror, you would have never known at all it was Twilight Zone until you got on that ride. You would have never known. It just looks perfectly with the ride, especially with Aerosmith too. You have the guitar leading, it's like, oh wow, this is a guitar theme ride. Then you see the giant Aerosmith thing, and then you're going to a concert in Hollywood. Like, that makes sense, but it's also using Aerosmith, which is not even it's just a band.
Yeah.
It has but GeForce Records, they created all these new things to accompany just this band's IP. And moving forward with all those ideas, it's like, even with Muppet Vision, like what you said, they placed it within Grand Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
That makes it work. Like it's a show that they're playing on Grand Avenue, right? So Michael Eisner, I feel like, has done a lot better creative job, even though all of his stuff was completely outside even the American Idol experience. Going with that, it makes sense for Hollywood because it's a Hollywood event. But like
Drew Carey ride.
Yeah, it's like these are not really working. It works weird, but at the same time, it hits home. Yeah. And same thing with California Adventure when he created that whole park. It was all core to California and its central theme of it being California. He can really work with creating out of the box new ideas. I think that's something we need again.
Absolutely.
Because everything he's kind of made was like almost a staple. I mean, the only thing that I'd probably say his biggest downfall was Superstar Limo.
That would be actually. I know that this is supposed to only be like Hollywood Studios attractions, but Superstar Limo attraction with the Muppets might be funny, where they just are commenting on how bad it is.
I think it'd be pretty funny if they started commenting on the modern age of American Hollywood.
Yeah, they're like, look, there's Chaperone and Miss Piggy. They're performing in a concert together. And then they're singing Pink Pony Club, but there's a Muppet Pink Pony with them.
Something like that.
Yeah,
I don't think Chaperone would like to be in a Disney attraction.
Yeah.
That seems off-brand for her.
You never know. You never know.
That would be Taylor Swift. That's what would be in it.
Yeah.
That seems more on-brand.
Well, there was that idea that they would potentially take the Aerosmith ride and turn it into a Taylor Swift ride.
Gosh, I wouldn't be able to stand that.
It would make sense, but I feel like Taylor would have wanted 15 to 20 million a year for her licensing or something like that.
Something like that, and two, it would be the only song I could really think of that going to would be "Shake It Off" because most of Taylor Swift's song for me is that it's not. I don't get into a groove listening to it. You know what I mean? Like when you listen to it, you're not like. It's not roller coaster music to me. It's like
I think Style would have worked the best for a roller coaster.
I don't know any Taylor Swift songs other than "Shake It Off." I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not a Swiftie, so but every song I listen to it again. Swifties, you're gonna come and put me on a stake, but every time I listen to one of their music, like it kills the mood for me because it's just like I don't know. Whenever I listen to music, I like music that's a lot more energetic, and a lot of her stuff kind of just is.
Yeah.
I don't know how to. It's not as energetic.
Men I Trust Rock and Roller Coaster.
Huh?
Men I Trust Rock and Roller Coaster.
Men I Trust.
Sorry, not Men I Trust. Men at Work.
Men at Work. I would love that. I love Men at Work. That'd be crazy. That would not make sense. They're from Australia, but like it's. Yeah.
Can you imagine blasting off and being like, "Show me how"?
I could think, "You come from a land down under." Make an Australian country in Epcot, and then you put it right there.
We're gonna get this like really niche indie band.
Australian, new idea. Australian themed area at Epcot. Bluey and Men at Work. Oi, Bingo, we gotta go. Boy, Bingo, who could it be now?
I kind of love it.
I'm going to see them this summer. I'm excited. They're coming with Toto.
That's cool.
That's gonna be good.
All right.
Moving on to actually get back on track because we have a lot. The Great Movie Ride. I kind of want to mention. I kind of want to mention this. So when you're talking about are you thinking a Kermit animatronic on the ride, like on the front of the ride, or what are you thinking for how that's done? Because I think you could have a puppeteer in there.
As far as the way that the ride moves, at least when it comes to how the original design of the ride was, like a Muppeteer would have to be like literally in the ride vehicle.
I think there could be like you could have like, I'm trying to think of like the ride vehicle. I think there's a way to engineer it to where you can have a seat on the ride front and have like maybe like the ride vehicle kind of raised off the ground a little bit.
Maybe.
And have someone, that would be really, really cool and interactive, and you could actually have a Muppeteer, like a puppeteer, and also you keep the work, so you don't just replace someone's job with an animatronic. You can still have the Muppeteer, and you can have people come in and swap places with them, and do the thing where like you have like the Star Wars Muppet you were talking about, like boom, 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 come up and have a different Muppet. Maybe it's like a rat, or like what's his name, Pizza Rizzo. He looks dressed up as an Ewok or something.
Yeah. Mickey Mouse. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, literally. I think it'd be really charming to have an actual like Muppeteer, I guess is probably what they're called, right? A Muppeteer actually doing that, because it's just like it'd just be so cool just to see that. I don't know. It's something special about actually seeing a puppet being used.
But yeah, they could go through a Marvel section too, because they'd have to.
Yeah, they'd have to do Marvel. They had to do Avatar for some reason. They'd have to do. Avatar is such a weird thing that Disney is obsessing about. I get that it's a high-engrossing movie, but it's an interesting pick.
Gonzo dressed up as like Jake Sully.
There you go.
That'd be kind of cool.
Muppet coming up in a wheelchair. So moving on to
Muppet cerebral palsy. Wait, you got that? Okay.
We can move on to the second ride that we came up with. Because unless you want to specify more on exactly what they're doing with the Muppet movie ride.
Well, so like I do think you could have the same thing where Kermit's introducing these movies. We have Muppets implemented to them. I would love to add in some classic movies as well. Mm-hmm. Just personally, like I would love. I mean, they could have the Fantasia section again because that would work because Disney. But like, if they had Casablanca with Muppets, that'd be cool. Wizard of Oz with Muppets would be cool, but since that's kind of more so being pumped up by Universal, they would probably not want to do that anymore. That was a cool section of that ride. Even though I think it is like the original Wizard of Oz is under public domain now, I think, or soon to be. So hey,
I would think it would be. I mean, if Steamboat Willie is at this point, it's getting really close.
Oh, Steamboat Willie's like I would say 10 years older than Wizard of Oz.
Oh, is it really? I guess I didn't put two and two together. Yeah. Well, I guess you think. Well, the book series I felt came out
is totally under public domain.
Yeah, the books the book series has to be under public domain. I know that.
Oh yeah. Because I think Steamboat Willie was 28,
something like that,
and Wizard of Oz was 39.
Gotcha.
So it's a significant.
So yeah, so I guess the movie, because we're talking about the movie. Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing when it comes to like tracking Golden Age films is that it is easy to be like, oh, they all came out within the same 5 years,
right?
But there is a significant year jumps between them,
Yeah.
But like, I know it's 1939 because that year changed film forever. Mm-hmm. There hasn't been a more important year in the history of movies than 1939. So that's the year Wizard of Oz and Gone with the Wind came out. Mm-hmm. The movies were just different after that, and they were both directed by the same dude, Victor Fleming.
Right.
Kind of wild. Anyway, sorry, that's my little. Film.
This is a little fun fact that my sister she was named after Gone with the Wind.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, Tara. Yeah.
She was named after her. That's what my mom named her after.
Yeah. Dude, I love Gone with the Wind. Have you ever seen it?
No. Anyways,
it's 4 hours long.
Oh, wonderful. But I mean, again, I haven't been on the Great Movie Ride, and I wish I could have gone on it because I missed out on it.
It was my favorite ride of all time.
I was just shy because I literally went the year it closed. The first time to Disney World.
It was so you would have loved it too because it was just so implemented in everything to do with Disney and Hollywood and
And
like
it's a Chinese theater. Like it's
yeah,
at the Chinese theater. It just makes sense from where it is. It makes sense for it. I mean, it was the
and it
headline
just does.
attraction when it opened.
I love Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. I love it. It does not make sense that it's in a Chinese theater. They've
You
never
gotta go at the one at Toontown because that one just makes sense at that point.
yeah
Like,
because they built the El Capitan. That's
yeah,
hilarious. Like why
yeah.
didn't they just build an El Capitan here?
I
And
feel
because
like they should have saved. I think they need variety when it comes to their parks. I think they should have kept that at Disneyland. Waited to keep that at Disneyland.
well, here's the thing. Disneyland did it correctly though, because everyone thought when they announced Mickey and Minnie's coming to Toontown, everyone thought, "Well, rest in peace, the Roger Rabbit spinner."
Yeah.
Right? And they're like, "No, we'll keep them both.
Yeah, well, that's really cool.
We'll just build a new section." And we're like,
Yeah.
"Cool, thank you." It's that easy, Disney.
Yeah.
It's that easy. Which is why you can definitely tell that Disneyland and Disney World are run by two different like corporate offices.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
You could also tell from the way the park is managed because Disney. I mean, obviously, Disney World's a huge property, and so it'd be harder. But Disneyland's a much nicer property. Meaning,
Yeah.
like you go there, so it feels a lot more nicer and more quality than Disney World does. There's a lot of things about Disney World that are very out of date, very old. Disneyland's pretty well kept, and I'm sure that's mainly because of the size, but also because I think different management too.
yeah, absolutely.
But I think I'd love to go on a great movie ride that with all the Muppets. I think it'd be a really fun idea, and I also think having Muppeteers on the ride would separate it from most rides, and also give it a new flair. That's like it actually feels like Muppets are taking over the jobs of the workers.
Yeah,
And you can still have that aspect of Muppet Vision where there's like live Sweetums and stuff. You could have that. You could have Sweetums as maybe a character on the ride, so you can have that homage. To
you know,
yeah.
yeah.
It'd be funny if like Sweetums was like, I don't know, what would he be a good? He could be an Ewok. Not an Ewok, sorry,
no.
like Chewbacca, whatever, like a Wookiee, easily.
What if there's like a scene and we could even make it based off of Alien, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's a really goofy xenomorph that's like a Muppety xenomorph that's running around.
It's got to be the most
Sweetums-
Muppet that's like you don't expect to be a xenomorph. It has to be like Bean Bunny.
Well, not exactly being. It could be Waldo C. Graphic.
That'd be funny.
And people are like, and then Sweetums comes out and goes, "Bean Bunny, where are you?" And he like flashes a light because he's trying to find him, and then Bean Bunny's in the corner hiding.
And then then the penguins from the band comes up, and then they shoot Bean Bunny out the cannon and shoot the xenomorph.
Yeah. I kind of like it.
You actually have to put on Muppet Vision glasses for that one section.
Yes, they're like little pink glasses.
Yep.
The end of the ride. So at the end of the original, Great Movie Ride, there was like a show. It was like a little, it was a little show that like represented like the magic of movies or whatever, and it like played a clip of a bunch of these movies to watch.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of my goals as a kid to watch every movie that was featured in that end show.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't still to this day. Because there's a lot.
There's obviously footage of that list, right?
Yeah. So
you could still do that if you wanted to.
Really on Wikipedia. Final set of films in the finale. What is 10 is a 1979 romantic comedy film written, produced, and directed by Blake Edwards, starring Dudley Moore, Julie Andrews, Robert Webber, and Bo Derek.
You should do that. You should finish that in honor of a great movie ride.
That could be like an interesting video idea. At least.
That is a very interesting. I could see that. I could see someone doing a whole ranking of them and be like, I've watched every single movie in the Great Movie Ride. Here's how they hold up.
There's like I think 150 to 200 movies in that.
Exactly, and so that's why it'd be really like I for a year straight every day I watched one movie.
Yeah,
or whatever. It's like it'd be clickbaity, but it'd work.
It would be.
We've talked a lot about the Great Muppet Movie Ride. Is there any final closing thoughts before we move on to the next attraction?
I want this to be real.
Yeah, well, it's like the most Brettcore thing I've ever seen. The only thing that you would add in to make it even more Brettcore is have a Twin Peaks themed area.
Yes, which I would do if I was imagining. I'd be like, look, we have to.
Yeah.
Twin Peaks, Muppets,
Twin Peaks,
Talking Heads, Twin Peaks.
There you go.
I love Twin Peaks with all my heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shampoo.
At the end, it's just like at the end of the ride, it just has that like, compilation of all those movies, but they're all really crudely photoshopped with random Muppets on their face.
Yes.
And it's just as the days go by. Imagine your car is a very large automobile.
That would be awesome.
And at the end, you leave with a beautiful wife.
Oh. Hey, you know what?
As the days go by.
Tinder would be put out of business after that, right?
The Tinder killer.
Yo,
The Muppet movie ride.
y'all, the greatest film of all time, Armageddon, is in the exit show for the Great Movie Ride.
Is it really?
Yeah, so it's over. That's number one. So
That's funny.
you have to drink everything
Actually,
else.
I do like Armageddon. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I've never watched it. Actually.
It's good. I liked it.
Yeah, I've heard it's like goofy and fun. So
It is. Well, mainly the only goofy that's really let up is by Steve Buscemi. He's good in the movie. It's goofy and fun, but also it can get you a little bit sometimes because there's like it's a thriller. It's pretty tense. I want to say it's a pretty tense movie. But
I could stay awake.
Yeah, that whole section's weird.
You could connect to the Aerosmith that way. Let's make it Armageddon ride.
Drilling the ride. So let's scoot on to the Muppet Backlot Tour, because Backlot Tour was like basically the number one thing people would go on at MGM Studios.
Yeah, wasn't that there was an Armageddon tie into that ride? I think specifically.
I'm sure.
Because I know that like Michael Bay did like introduce one of the sections of that ride.
Could be. But yeah, the Muppet Backlot Tour. So, again, this is the second big attraction that is kind of closely related to the Muppet movie ride, but it would be something to the effect of, instead of you're going into the movies, you are looking at props, you're looking at different how they make movies, but it's all Muppetized.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really fun if they actually found a way to kind of like mix the two, meaning that like maybe there's a section where like in the Great Movie Ride where you see the tram tour or like the backlot tour within the ride going through, and then the Muppets can comment about it. You know what I mean? Like maybe there's a section where like you're in the Alien ride and the backlot tour. I keep saying the backlot. It is backlot tour. Backlot tour above you, like kind of like with that train in Splash Mountain or something, to where like you kind of see it. And the Muppets can kind of advertise it. Like, do you want to see behind the scenes of all these great movies? Go on the backlot tour up there. Also, my wife left me, Sweetums.
It's like the...
Wah, wah.
It's like the... Sunny Eclipse Cafe.
Yeah.
Where he's just singing about how he's trying to get custody of his kids or something.
Yeah.
And he just plays his song. Crazy.
No, but it's whatever. Like, you could kind of intertwine them. But you could have, like... Because I know the backlot tour... Maybe I'm wrong about this. I don't know exactly what plane it was, but there was partial of a plane from one of the big movies of the Great Movie Ride, because there was that plane in the Great Movie Ride. Is that from Casablanca? Yeah. That plane was like split in half, and they put one section on the backlot tour, and then they shipped one to Jungle Cruise at Disneyland or something, or it might be in Florida. It might be in the Florida Jungle Cruise. There's a plane at one of them that's still part of that Casablanca plane.
So they could say that if you want to see the other part of this plane, make sure to
they cut it in half or something. Like again, like the tail end is in one of the Jungle Cruises.
So it's kind of like you know that section in the Bo Welch Cat in the Hat movie where the movie stops for Mike Myers to look at the audience and be like, "Buy tickets to Universal Studios."
Yeah,
you could do that with this attraction and it'd be really funny. Like, just for it to stop and be like, "You want to see more of these props?"
Yeah.
Move 900 miles to the opposite direction to Disneyland.
Yeah. It'd be kind of funny, actually, if they somehow incorporated it to be like, you could actually see a live videotape of what's going on in California. You're walking past like a giant screen, and it's like the same part of the ride that you're like, or like whatever. It's like, this here is located in California. But it's like that's actually live video footage of California.
There is something similar to that in Meow Wolf. there's two of the Meow Wolf art exhibits that communicate with each other.
Mm-hmm.
You can pick up a telephone and speak to somebody on the other, like at another.
That's an Omega Mart in Nevada because I did that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
I talked to someone else across I remember that. I thought it was automated, but then I learned later you were talking to someone else, like an actual person.
Like they're. I think it's connected to Omega Mart and then the one in Santa Fe. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So that's
cool.
Yeah, it's cool. Meow Wolf. We could do a whole episode about that.
Yep. Trying to think of what else you could do. There's not much else to say about Backlot Tour. Maybe you could have like. I'm trying to think. I never went on the Backlot Tour either. Did they have like effect shows too? Kind of like what the studio tour does over in Hollywood Studios, not Hollywood Studios, Universal Studios Hollywood, where like they have like the giant effect room where it has like the floods and the fire. Do they have that on the Backlot Tour?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. In the one in Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a scene where like your thing stopped and like you would get flooded and then you would see fire and stuff. Yeah,
I feel like they could have that, but it's like they could have like it's like you walk into like a Muppet like getting ready studio, like it's like or like whatever, like a backstage studio, and like Miss Piggy's getting ready, and then like somehow Gonzo makes the whole thing flood or something. So you can still have those effects, but you could have them within the Muppets universe.
Yeah, do you remember the Disaster Show at Universal?
No.
Oh, okay. That was like another kind of like stage show film attraction. It's where Fast and Furious is now, unfortunately.
Gotcha.
But like it was very similar. It wasn't like it wasn't a backstage tour, but it's essentially like you came in and The Rock was there and he was like, "Yo, we're gonna film a new disaster movie and we want you to be a part of it." And then you go on a tram and like there would be all these effects happening to the tram, and then afterwards you were filmed and they would show the movie and it was funny. It was a cute ride. It was really
sounds
cute
like it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. I think I've heard of that. That's the thing is I went to Universal like the year before I went to Disney World, so it was Fast and Furious by the time I went there.
Yeah, but yeah, that was a fun idea for a ride, but the idea was like audience participation. That was also a thing at the Hollywood Studios one. Yes. My sister was showing one time, like they'd have two people stand on this like raft and then like spray water at them and essentially and like blow wind at them and then film them later. So that was a cool thing, and that would be a cool thing to do with the Muppets. Like they would have fun messing with you, you know.
Yeah, that would be fun. I think I think also just kind of like what I said earlier too about like incorporating the Muppets universe within the studio tours or Backlot tour. So like it's like this is what backstage like this is what the makeup room looks like, or somehow it gets flooded or something and Miss Piggy just like drowns or whatever. Then you can get wet or something. Yeah. Again, you show like maybe movie props from all of the from like maybe the Muppet movies or something. Maybe Elton John get eaten by crocodiles again. That kind of scared me as a kid. On one of the Muppet Show episodes where Elton John gets eaten by crocodiles during Crocodile Rock. That scarred me. He gets eaten alive.
Yeah.
I was
Dude, like, that show went crazy. I love the Alice Cooper episode too.
Yeah. I was watching a whole like Alice Cooper thing about how he's gone very, very religious now.
Yeah.
And it's honestly really, really cool to see because I don't know, he was very passionate about it. Didn't know that before. Some
of those guys ended up being wholesome, which is interesting.
Yeah, he's a really wholesome guy now. Like I was watching a whole thing about an interview with him.
But he does he still does his shows and like goes all out with like with like practical effects and violence and like it's awesome.
Yeah.
My friend saw him live a few years ago, and he was saying it was like maybe the best concert he's ever been to.
That's cool.
It was a show.
Yeah, you know? That's cool.
So we're pro Alice Cooper in this podcast.
Yeah, we'll do Alice Cooper episode. We'll get him on the podcast.
Yeah,
I'll call him up. I'll have him on speed dial.
It's gonna end up being an episode about religion. Like it's gonna be completely different.
Episode 1001 Alice Pooper. the ploop before Alice Plooper.
Dude, we hadn't even mentioned that yet.
I know, Alice Plooper.
Wow. That's a record. How far did we get into this?
I don't know, 45 minutes?
Wow.
We're still on the attractions. We gotta move to dining. So I guess that's the Backlot tour. It's kind of self-explanatory. But now, moving on to dining, we got our first idea, which I'm sure everyone is thinking of, because why not? A Swedish chef kitchen.
Yeah.
And it's a sit-down restaurant. And I think all the employees can only speak in his gibberish. It's Swedish gibberish.
And
Yeah.
you'd be like, I want
whatever. And when you order, all the names of the dishes are in that weird dialect. And so, like, the mac and cheese is like the mac and drangalang. You have to order that, and then you have to actually say these names. They will not let you order by just pointing. You have to say them.
How do I pronounce that?
And you just give it the best shot.
Yeah.
And you'll come out and your food will be like, I don't want to say purposely haphazardly made, because again, that's like FDA stuff. I don't want it to look like it's like disgusting, but like, it'd be funny if like the bowls looked like random stuff. Like you get your food in a hat or something. That's just like, it'd be funny if they had like a little puppeteer come out and chase a chicken around with like a butcher knife and something. Like you'd have like maybe moving puppets. Maybe you would have a Sonny Eclipse Muppet in there talking about how he's trying to get the custody of the kids back.
That would be so fun.
Sweet Eclipse.
So this is something that I want to bring up.
Okay.
Someone will bring this up. So do you know what Mama Melrose was supposed to be before it became Mama Melrose?
No, I actually never eaten in there.
Me either, which is unfortunate because now it's closed. And I wanted to. I was like a Muppet completionist, but whatever. It's all good. It's not. I'm sad. But anyway, Mama Melrose was supposed to be Pizza Rizzo's. And it was supposed to be a place where you walked in and you ordered Italian food, and little rats would actually get you your food. Like little animatronic rats would like run to your table and drop off your food. Like that was the original conceit of that restaurant. Mm-hmm. And Jim Henson had made the whole thing, like he made it plausible because he had this like little conveyor belt, kind of like rotating sushi, but they were like little rats that would like pass you your dishes.
Oh yeah.
That's which was like hilarious. That's a great idea. And like I think Swedish Chef was supposed to be in the back making stuff, and there was an animatronic Gonzo that was supposed to be in there that would like take you to your table or whatever. It's an insane idea for like a restaurant, like super ambitious. Unfortunately, whenever Jim Henson passed away, they were just like, we have no idea how we're even going to pull this off because he had the idea for it.
Right.
But Mama Melrose was kind of made in honor of him in a regard because they're like, well, we can't see through the vision, but like we still want to make an Italian place in this area, so they made Mama Melrose. In the Swedish Chef attraction, you could Swedish Chef restaurant, you could call it Mama Melrose. You know, just as a tribute to him. You could have the rats running it and stuff, and be able to complete that vision. Because Pizza Rizzo ended up being made later, kind of also as a wink and nod reference to the original idea at Mama Melrose. So,
gotcha. Well, I think that probably has more better idea than what I had.
Oh, so, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. No, you're good. All I was thinking was just like this. All I had was Swedish Chef, and I was thinking how you could just have haphazard stuff, but having all that stuff would be really, really cool.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool.
That would be cool. And then the other idea for dining is we were just going to take Regal Eagle from Epcot, because for some reason that's very slightly Muppet themed.
And you just have Bowtie Jones cook food.
Yep.
My puppet, Bowtie Jones, would be introduced into the Muppet lore.
Yep. But you just move Regal Eagle over there because Regal Eagle is arguably probably one of the best quick service restaurants. Yeah,
absolutely. I think it's easily top 5, if not top 3.
That's what I was saying. I feel like, because like, I don't know, somehow their brisket's really good, which is weird because you wouldn't think that, because or like theme park brisket, you're like, what the hell?
But like,
it pulls it off.
And coming from me, a Missouri native, where we're all about our barbecue, it holds up.
Yeah, I think it does too.
Yep.
But yeah, I think we just move that over there. Why not? So you have a quick service type of restaurant with your sit down, Mama Melrose's Swedish Chef kitchen thing.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, is there any other dining you want to, like, maybe even like a little stand or something for food or something you'd want to think of, or maybe something a little like pop-up standy or something you could think of?
Yeah, you have a pop-up stand and you would eat the food and make you violently sick.
Okay.
Wait, we can have a stand called McMuppets. Like, the Golden Muppets.
Yeah, McMuppets, dude. That's crazy. Muppet. There's a Muppet version of Grimace. There's a Muppet version of Grimace.
Yes.
Sweetums is just purple. Sweetums is just purple.
Yeah, isn't it? I think Grimace could count as a Muppet.
Yeah, you think Birdie can count as a Muppet too?
Maybe, but Grimace is a straight up. It's Grimace a Muppet. It's going to
Yeah.
be the thing I write into Google right now.
It doesn't mean no, it was not a Muppet.
Yeah, well, stupid AI doesn't know anything.
No.
He's a part of the Puppet Wiki, but I don't really know if that counts as a Muppet. But he is a puppet.
Are Muppets designated as made by the Jim Henson Company specifically?
I think so. So
Technically,
yeah.
Five Nights at Freddy's is Muppets.
Technically, Freddy Fazbear's Muppet. Confirmed right here.
Oh, did you see that was confirmed for Halloween Horror Nights? We knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
Now I'm like that's the one reason I might go.
Yeah. I feel.
But
like
I don't know. I don't know. But Halloween Horror Nights isn't my style. I'll definitely watch them.
Yeah, I tried it.
It's too much for me.
Yeah.
What's funny is because I can play scary games. I've watched scary movies before. I just can't do the live thing. It plays on my senses, and I'm very hyperly sensitive to a lot of things, like in physical.
If you have a certain type of anxiety disorder, it's not the best place for you to be at.
It's also like sensory thing for me. When sensory overload happens, I shut down, and that's literally all of Hollywood Horror Nights is sensory overload.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's just me. I know my place, and I'm like, that's just not for me.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
But I can respect it because like if people, that's really cool that they do that, and it's very creative. So.
No, it's like so cool, and I love watching videos for it.
Yeah, because it's so well designed and themed. It's just I know I can't probably go to it.
Yeah, I went through the Ghostbusters house, which everyone said was the tamest one, and I walked out of that thing shaking.
Yeah, it's just Ghostbusters.
It's literally just Ghostbusters.
But honestly, I'm really excited for Five Nights at Freddy's because I hope they make it absolutely horrifying.
Yeah, I think they will.
I want to see bodies in suits. I want to see dead carcasses in suits. Like,
it'll be sick to see like those animatronics brought to life like that.
That is going to be crazy. Like, people are going to go there. That's going to be so crowded because like,
oh, it's going to have like 3-hour waits.
No, it's going to be so long, and it's going to be really good. Walking through that pizzeria is also going to. It's just they make it real. It's going to be like, holy crap! That's such an easy thing to make come to life.
Yeah,
that's going to work really well. Okay, moving on to shopping, because we keep kind of going off. We thought for shopping we could do a thing where you could have a whole section dedicated to high-end shopping brands like Prada, Gucci.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of anything. Coach.
American Eagle.
Yeah, stuff like that where you have high-end shopping brands. But then you have the Muppets take over. Those shopping brands, so you have like Miss Piggy running everything. Like maybe she's like a manager of the high end shopping area, which would totally make sense. And you have some lore behind the shopping center or whatever. But like you can go in there and you can buy. Maybe it's almost kind of like what's the called crap? Like the Emporium where all the shops are kind of we can walk in between them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you can kind of shop and everything. So we kind of like maybe fun names. Like this is kind of cursed, but. What would we say?
Instead of American Eagle, we have Sam the Eagle, or
Sam Eagles, or Gonzucci.
Gonzucci is one of them.
Gonzucci.
Hey, you know, it would work.
Yeah, stuff like that. You could have maybe like again, like you have Miss Piggy, like. Maybe there's a statue of her and like high fashion things, but everything would be just like normal. Like, it's not actually selling really high end products. It's also just selling Muppets merch, but it's just the aesthetic of that. And that'd just be kind of fun. And you could buy like Muppets merch. We didn't really come up with any Muppets merch specifically. Maybe you can make your own Muppet. Make a Muppet.
Well, it's very much like they have something like that at FAO Schwartz, in New York. At least they used to. That'd be an easy thing to implement.
Yeah, we could
make a Muppet thing.
Yeah, make a Muppet thing. Like it's basically a Build-A-Bear, but make a Muppet.
Yeah. Which like who wouldn't want to do that?
Exactly. And then
losers.
You could losers.
I got a little too passionate.
And then also you could maybe just have like I'm trying to think of Muppet Show. Maybe you could buy the Muppet Show DVDs and buy like the movies. That's a very constant thing we've been kind of talking about is buying those things. There, you could have merchandise, the Muppet merchandise, all the backpacks and stuff.
Mm-hmm. You could buy chickens.
Yeah, you can buy a Swedish Chef hat.
Yeah,
You can buy all that stuff. You can buy a Sweetums, like make one of those like Yoda or Chewbacca backpacks, but it's Sweetum.
we will actually make a Sweetums meet and greet since everyone asks about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can just do it. You can do a Sweetums meet and greet. I feel like it'd be kind of funny if you could meet Kermit and it was a puppeteer.
yeah, that would be cool.
And he could talk to you, have like a Muppet impersonator or whatever, and have like Kermit impersonator.
Yeah, like I am the Muppet.
Yeah.
Oh, it is me.
Yep. It's a spin-off of I Am Legend, but I Am Muppet.
Of a man. I'm a very manly.
But yeah,
Muppet.
that's the idea for the shopping center. Maybe you can have the meet and greets in the shopping center.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah. I love it.
Yeah, moving on to shows and events, we have two for you. We have the Hall of Muppets, which is a show based on the Hall of Presidents, but instead of presidents, it's Muppets.
Heck yeah, this is a slam dunk.
Yeah.
Come on.
And it needs to have like commentary on American history from the Muppets.
I thought you were going to say imperialism, and I was like, whoa.
No, it's a or American history from Muppets.
We'll comment on American imperialism with the Muppets.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's something that could happen at some point.
You never know.
Yeah.
But it's very on brand. It's basically the Muppets. It's basically just like you go in and it's maybe all like Muppets that are dressed up, like maybe like presidents. But maybe I think it'd be funny if like they weren't actually talking about real life presidents. I think it'd be funny if they made their own presidents that did stupid stuff. Like this is the second president. Da, 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 da. He was known for some stupid thing, kind of like almost like President Quimbley the Third or whatever in Gravity Falls, where he made like the $1 stuff like that, where it's like Quentin Trimbley, that's his name, where it's like a whole bunch of that, where it's like stupid presidents doing stupid things.
We could do. What's that Muppet that's been going viral because of the Smash or Pass thing? You know what I'm talking about?
No idea.
Chowunga, is that his name?
I don't know.
Gary Chowunga or whatever.
I have no idea.
You don't know this meme?
No, I do not know that meme.
It's what's his name? Dang it! Oh yeah, Gary Chowunga. That's his name. He's a ventriloquist dummy.
I gotcha.
Yeah, and he's featured on an episode of Muppets Tonight, but he's been going viral on TikTok for some reason. Gary Chowunga.
I never heard of that.
Okay, I'll have to introduce you to the meme when the episode's over. But you could have him be a president.
Yeah. Something like that. You could have like Sweetums be a president for Sweetums is a very big character in Muppets lore for some reason. You could have. We haven't even talked about what are their names. Crap, the old guys. Bertram. No, what's his name?
Oh, it's Statler and Waldorf.
Yeah, Statler and Waldorf. We haven't even mentioned them at all.
Yeah,
They should have their own like commentary that's always happening off and on and off within the land.
Yeah, you could have a show where they just roast you.
I think it'd be fun if they could like just they're a passive event, meaning that like you don't have to wait in a line for it. It's just like something that kind of happens at like a stage.
They start building and they shout insults at you.
Yeah, all right, they start like catcalling you.
Yeah.
Hey, it's like get over here. I want to speak.
William Puppet Taft.
It's almost kind of like the Stormtroopers, where they kind of walk around and do different events. They can't walk around, but they're a stage show. When you walk by, they might say something about you. Look at this! Like someone's wearing Mickey ears. Look at this man. He paid $500 for those.
How much do you think you pay for parking?
And it's like something where it's like the two parents are arguing. Watch out, kid, for the divorce later on. Oh!
You know what would be hilarious?
What?
I don't know if they will. If on the last day of Muppet Vision, they were able to implement different audio into Statler and Waldorf, and they're like, "Finally, the show is over!" That would hurt people.
Yeah.
That would be so funny.
It's all ogre now. Oh! That's all ogre. But yeah. That'd be fun. I think adding the Staldorf and Waldorf to like a passive event that you could just experience would be kind of fun.
You think I could ask for one of the penguins and they would give it to me?
I don't think so. You know what you would, if you still worked there, you could get some of the glasses or something.
Yeah.
They're not gonna sell those. Universal's cool like that. They'll sell that stuff, but Disney won't.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that Universal's just straight up like $5 for Shrek glasses.
Literally, I have 5 of them. If they ever go a 3D version of them and just replay that, I can have Shrek 4D at home.
Yeah.
But yeah, moving on to, this is your idea, the Gonzo Stunt Show.
Yeah. So, as you guys know, there was an extreme stunt show at Hollywood Studios in this section. So we could bring that back, have crazy car flips and stunts and all of this stuff. Well, Gonzo the Great, because that was his whole thing, is he did stunts.
Yeah.
And they would be goofy stunts too. He'd be like, I'm gonna balance a banana pie on my head, juggle swords, and drive into a pit of alligators. Like, it'd be like the craziest things you can imagine. They're like, what are you talking about?
I think it'd be really funny if there was this ginormous looking circus tent in the background. That just had Gonzo's face on it.
And it looked like a cult.
Yeah. You walk in, everyone's wearing hoods.
You turn into my mouth.
Yeah. Imagine almost like a Toy Story ride over in Japan where you entered Woody's mouth.
Oh,
have you seen that?
That's so scary. Yeah, I have.
Have that, but it's just Gonzo.
That's pretty good, actually.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that'd be really fun too. And you could have maybe a cannon shot where he launches and it looks like he breaks through the tent.
Yeah.
And maybe you have a backdrop outside so whenever that happens, everyone else outside the tent can see him fly out. Have a projection that shoots out.
And people would be like, why are you not dead yet? They would have a Joe Rogan reference. It could be like, Fear Factor Live, more like Gonzo's gonna eat this bug.
Bean Rogan.
Bean Rogan. Bean Rogan comes out and goes, have you guys ever tried elk meat?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. After Gonzo's stunt show, actually I have one more thing because it's a new section, overlays. We thought, it'd be fun to have a Muppet-themed overlay at Haunted Mansion because they did that Haunted Mansion show, and it worked kind of well. You'd have that maybe during, I don't know, spring.
It was just that show was straight up just one of the best things they've ever done with the Muppets, Disney.
Yeah.
It's for a second they understood what they had. It was for a brief shining second. They were like, oh yeah, we can do this. And we're like,
Jim Henson came down from the heavens for a minute. And went back up.
Let me help you guys out here because this is getting rough. They were like, thank you, Henson. All right, cool.
And he's probably gonna come back down. And he's gonna be like, all right, now we're gonna do Matterhorn.
Yeah, no, he's gonna come back down. He's like, okay, who do I need to kill?
No, but yeah, overlay or something like that, where instead of 999 Happy Haunts, it's Happy Muppets. It's Furious Muppets.
Yeah.
They're mad. They want you out.
Yeah, they're like, please let us just chill.
Yeah.
What if...
It's a meta commentary on consumerism, and it's why do you guys keep buying stuff to go on the same ride? You're bothering us. We just want to live in peace.
Let's make this as completely meta as possible, okay?
Okay.
All of the haunts of the Haunted Mansion are all specifically the Muppets from Muppet Vision.
That'd be kind of funny.
So it's Waldo and Sweetums and stuff, but they're specifically we know that they're the ones
from Muppet Vision. Yeah, when Disney axed us,
we
had nowhere else to move.
Yeah, the giant Sweetums actor kind of.
But it's we can only rent the place for a couple months at a time. So that's the explanation for why it's an overlay. It's because they can only rent it for a certain amount of time. It's
the piano scene, the durr, durr. You see Sweetums walking Bean Bunny with his flashlight. What if it was just Muppet Vision?
And at the end, with all the happy haunts, it's the 5-minute American extravaganza.
No, the 3-hour grand finale.
And
it is a minute and a half.
Yeah.
That's kind of cute. I love that.
That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
But yeah, and that's pretty much almost everything we have for you, which is honestly pretty good this week. I think it was some good ideas here.
Yeah, we kind of like padded this one out a little bit more than some of the other ones.
We did, and also we actually are doing this in the morning when we wake up, so we have more creative ideas than working all day because we have jobs, and then coming home at night when we're kind of running on fumes. So
dude, work ruins everything.
So maybe we should try to plan this more in the mornings if we can at all, because it helps out a lot, and also gives us more time. Gives me more time to edit. So
and also, we need to pitch that Jingle All the Way attraction someday.
I gotta watch it.
It's Turbo Time. It's a Christmas movie, but you should watch it right now.
Yeah. Let's go back to now. It's the conclusion. Let's go back and I guess rate the probability on these. These are kind of honestly kind of more accurate to since it's probability because now these are actually in the park or at least somewhat related to Disney parks. So
yeah,
I'm gonna let you take this away because you know Muppets way more than I do since you're the Muppet Man.
Yeah. It's still a little like what? Great Muppet movie ride. You know what? I'm gonna give a probability of like a 7. They could still definitely bring it back if they wanted to. The backlot tour with them is probably a little less than that, maybe a 6 or a 5. I think the restaurant, more like an 8. I feel like that could really potentially happen, honestly. Yeah. Mick Muppets is probably like a 2.
Yeah.
As cool as that would be. The Gonzo stunt show, I don't know if they would build that whole thing, but it would be cool. So I'm at 5. And then the Hall of Muppets, probably like a 3.
And then you have the shopping center.
The shopping center is probably like a 2.
Yeah. And then the overlay.
Oh, overlay? Like 8, honestly. They could do that.
I like the idea of them moving into the Haunted Mansion because they had nowhere else to go for rent.
Yeah, I think that's really funny. They should do that and then give us credit for it.
No, we gotta be hired as Imagineers, dude.
Yeah.
When's that gonna happen?
Exactly.
We're gonna be the new Joe Rohde, dude. We're gonna be
right now.
Yeah,
hire us right now.
Hire us right now.
Do it.
We'll do all of it. We'll fix Disney.
Yeah. We'll do it live.
Literally, reference back to our old episode. We do it live. Go watch that episode. Spaghetti tacos.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of what else to talk about. I guess I'll rate them. Great movie ride. I have a feeling they're not going to bring back the movie ride because that's not Disney. They kind of hate their fans. So, I'm going to give that one a 5. I'm going to give the backlot tour a 4. The Swedish Chef Kitchen I can see going maybe a 7. Moving Regal Eagle over, that's a 0.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
The McMuppets 1. Muppets taking over the highest shopping brands. Honestly, if they made a whole new park with Muppets, if they were to do that, I would say that's a 3 or a 4.
Yeah.
Hall of Muppets, no. I'd say it's a 2. Gonzo Stunt Show, I can honestly kind of see that. I'll give that at least a little bit more. I'll give that a 4. The overlay at Haunted Mansion, I agree with you, is an 8. I feel like that probably could happen way before any of these other things. And that's it. Yeah, then that's my ratings. If you were to pick one thing, I'm sure it would probably be the Great Muppet Movie Ride, right?
Yep.
One thing out of all this.
Yeah, done.
I agree with that. That's probably would be the most cool thing to come out of it.
I want all of it, though.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess that kind of concludes our episode here. We're about an hour and 10 minutes, which is about the normal mark of our episodes. Let us know if you guys have any ideas for a Muppet-themed area. We are really, really sad to see Muppet Vision go, and to see such a legacy of Jim Henson's to be taken down and replaced for the most weird decision, not most weird, but another weird decision made by Disney.
Can we give them a boo real quick for this?
Yeah. Boo! I'll do anything to give Disney boos. Boo! Which sucks because I used to love them.
Yeah, but we need to boo them for this because that was stupid.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man. Because the idea for what they're doing with Monsters Inc. is creative and it makes sense. But why the hell are you taking away Muppets?
You know how like you would make like a mistake as a kid and like your parents would be like, "I'm just disappointed."
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Well, now it's gotten to the point where I'm disappointed in a lot of things where it's like Disney, dude. Now it's becoming irritating. You know what I mean?
That's the point where it's like, Disney, are we going to have to send you to juvie?
You know, literally, it's like, do we need to send you like to Phineas and Ferb's concentration camp thing that they had to go to?
Well, okay, that was an interesting sentence.
Do you remember that where they went to like a boot camp?
That, like the facility camp where they or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's send Disney there. So you remember what you used to do?
I would be careful about what to call it though.
They'll get really concentrated. No worries.
Oh, like concrete.
No, I was thinking like they can concentrate, like they'll focus again.
Like orange.
I kind of actually mean concentration camp because remember how they said no creative ideas and to really concentrate and just have other eyeballs open.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, no, it was kind of crazy.
It was honestly kind of the most darkest episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let us know if you have any ideas. And let us know if you liked our ideas. Would you like to see a great Muppet movie ride come to fruition? Would you like to see Sweetums meet and greet because that somehow still has never happened? Would you also like to see Mama Melrose's become what it truly was supposed to be?
Smash that subscribe button, just like Disney has smashed their economical profits with the Muppets.
Yep. I'm trying to think of something to end this off with that's like funny.
Muppet.